My name is Dave Crable. I'm with iHemp Michigan. iHemp Michigan's mission is educate, inform, and promote the research, development, and cultivation of industrial hemp in Michigan. iHemp Michigan advocates for wellness in people and the planet through hemp, and it begins with the farmer. Today, though, we're going to begin with Mike Brennan from the 420 Post.
Yes, well, thanks very much, Dave. Also, Michigan Marijuana Report. We just put out our newsletter today. One of the stories in there is there's a debate on whether or not the Michigan marijuana plants are having a mold issue. A group of labs have come forward saying that, yes, there's a mold issue, and unfortunately, the labs are not done with regulatory oversight. So the Michigan Cannabis Industry Association, led by Robin Snyder, pushed back and said that they don't agree with the labs and they think that there's not a big issue. So I guess the jury remains out on whether there's mold or not. And I assume probably the MRA would step in and find out if there is indeed mold in the cannabis. And as I was discussing with Dave before we started, a lot of those crops are grown outdoors. So who knows, could be. To be determined. The other thing that happened with the MRA, speaking of which, is they have a work group that just came out with their recommendations for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. The statistics show that, at least in the cannabis world, that only about 3.5% of the provisioning centers are owned by African Americans, and only 1.5% are owned by Hispanics, and the rest of them essentially are white. And so they came up, they've been studying this for a while, came out with a bunch of recommendations that you can find at Michigan Marijuana Report. And one of the recommendations might also include putting a small new tax on an industry that's already paying a 16% tax. Of about 1.5% would be the additional tax, not a done deal yet, just a maybe. That would then be used to fund programs to help, take care of the diversity and getting more minorities involved in the actual ownership of the cannabis community, since many of those folks were hard hit by the war on drugs. And, if you look at the prison count, a lot of people that have been arrested for marijuana crimes are people of color. And so they're trying to address all these issues here in Michigan and make it a better situation for all concerned. So again, those recommendations aren't in law yet. They aren't in stone yet. But if you want to see what they are, what some of the recommendations are, check me out at mimarijuanareport.com, and we have that information there. So turn it back over to Dave.
Well, I think Blaine's got some news updates.
All right, well, we'll give a little news update. And Mike, thanks for that. That'll be very interesting to go to your site and read that information on that. It's too bad that they can't just take that money out of the taxes they're already ridiculously getting and be able
we're 16% taxes already. I mean, now they want to throw another 1.5 on top of it. So
yeah, gee whiz. All right, well.
All that does is make the folks in the black market look a whole lot better, right?
Yeah, it does, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, a bunch of news happened. Of course, the most important thing that happened last week was, of course, the Midwest iHemp Expo. What a great time we had on that. A lot of great information available online to be able to access that. We're going to leave that up for a long, long time. For those of you that may not have gotten the pass to that, you still can. Again, all that information is recorded on there. And, of course, at the end of the show, we'll give you all the Hempy winners. That was a fun time and a lot of great products we were able to showcase and be able to learn about more what hemp does than just the CBD stuff. So one of the things coming up is Hemplet, Make Hemp Day your Hemp Day. They're going to have Tales from the Field with Marguerite Bolt. She's the Purdue Hemp Education Specialist, Department of Agronomy at the Purdue. And Margaret's been a frequent person we've had on the show, and she also was at the expo with us. So that's a free registration for that. And Make Hemp Day Hemp Day. February the 3rd is when that one's coming on. Don't get too concerned about this next one, but the FDA withdraws its pending CBD enforcement proposal. This is kind of a routine thing that happens when we have a change of administration and a change in power, so to speak. They want to, whoa, let's take a look at things and look at things back. So not a bad thing. They're still going to go forward, but again, it's just kind of the change of thing. A little bit in the farm news, USDA FSA has had the same thing. There's some, they're coming out with a couple different programs. One is called the CFAF3. So it's just in a continuation of 1 and 2. And so what they are doing is contract growers like of hogs and of poultry were not able to get any assistance under the CFAF 1 or 2. They are going to be able to get assistance under 3. And you need to contact your FSA office on that. They'll be able to help you walk through it. They're going to need a copy of your contract and some other things. And that program sign up ends February the 26th. Also, the regular farm program for your decisions to make on that ends on March 15th. Also, crop insurance with Scott Colville is going to bring us up to date on that. Those options also end on March 15th. So there's some dates coming up we need to be aware of real quickly on that. Let's see. Our friends over at Hemp Today have a survey going on that they're asking everybody to take. You have until Friday to get that information in, and then they'll have the results online next week. Just a few 5 quick questions. They're asking what you're going to do for this coming year, and that'll be a great kind of a good way for us to get a handle and the market to get a handle on what's going to happen this year, right? People are going to grow more, not going to grow more. You're going to grow CBD, you're going to do something else. So kind of a fun survey. If you can get over and take that, it's at Hemp Today, and we'll have a link on our iMichigan Hemp page in a little bit on that. There's a real interesting article too that they have a Costa Rican law enforcement officials block transport of trial crops. We had Matthew Hume on the Expo, and he gave a couple of really great songs for us. But he was talking about down there in Costa Rica, how it works around there with their hemp, and they're trying to get it going. And so just an interesting article I thought that came up kind of timely when we were talking to him. There's some other stuff, Dave, I think I'll share a little later on. But right now, why don't we take it to Scott? We're going to from a lot of the exhibitors that we had at the Expo, we're going to kind of highlight them over the next few weeks on the iHemp Hour to let you know timely what topics they covered and what they had, the things that might be of importance to you. And we feel that crop insurance right now, with the decisions you've got to make by March 15th on that, was important. So we've invited Scott Colville to give us a few words on that.
Before we start with that, let me just mention that we have 2 of the iHemp award winners on the show for products. Blaine won 2 different awards, if I believe, and I think, Dave, you won at least 1 and maybe 2 yourself, didn't you?
No, you're muted, Dave.
Oh,
Yep, one award for my chocolate CBD balls.
And they are yummy.
We had some fun with that one, but we won't continue to push that any harder. And then Blaine, what'd you win for?
I won for my oil, the Hemper's oil, which I'll have that.
When you do the shameless plug, Blaine, you have to get the.
I know it's a shameless plug, absolutely is, yeah. And then also in the photography category as well, photo category.
Okay, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to congratulate you both on screen here. So.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. That was a nice award to win.
Scott.
All right.
Yes.
And you're going to win the award for crop insurance, right? So
That's right.
So do we want me to play this little intro, Blaine?
Yeah, let's do the intro, and then we'll have Scott give us a few words.
Oh, hold on. Did I forget?
Did you got it? You got
a little button.
Got to do the share through the audio.
I'm gonna call Zoom and tell them that needs to be default. I never remembered it. All right, can you see that?
My name is Scott Colville. I own the Scott Colville Crop Insurance Agency. My father, Jim Colville, started selling crop insurance in the 1960s. In 2020, he sold his last insurance policy, although you probably can still find him on the farm drinking coffee, some of his old friends. My brothers, JC and David, and myself have been selling crop insurance for the past 25 years. My nephew Ryan and son Eric have recently joined the business. We are licensed in several states throughout the country, including all the Midwest states. What do? I help producers take less risk and make more revenue. How do I do that? I do that by combining crop insurance and an understanding of government programs and costs so you can enjoy farming. The different types of insurance available: MPCI, multi-peril crop insurance, hail, whole farm, and weather. And thank you for watching. We appreciate your business and look forward to working with you in the 2021 crop season.
All right, well done, Scott.
Yes,
So you
very
can
nice
find-
video.
Yeah, it's a great video. It's a good lot of information. Now we really pared that down. So there's a great, and Scott's going to talk about this a little more, but if you go to the Midwest iHemp Expo, we've made the exhibit hall open for everybody to go in and look at that. And Scott has if you go to Scott's booth, he's got a great video where he goes through a lot of great explanations that we don't have time for on the show today, but there's more information there available as well. But Scott, tell us a little bit about things right now. Some deadlines and what we got going on.
Well, right now, the most important thing is the deadline of March 15th, as you mentioned, but that is a deadline just for the multi-peril crop insurance and the whole farm revenue insurance. Those are the government programs, and they have a March 15th deadline. There are 2 private insurance policies. One would be hail insurance, which covers just hail, and weather insurance, and those have a later sign-up date. And I would say contact us, because different parts of the country have different sign-up dates than just here in Michigan.
Let me ask you, sorry, to
Go ahead,
interrupt.
Mike.
Let me ask you real quick. You know, one of the biggest issues for hemp farmers is if their crop goes hot, and with some of the new legislation, they may increase that, the inadvertently going hot to 1% of them. I believe that's what it is, right, Blaine? Something along those lines?
We're hoping it goes up to 1%. Correct. That's what we're all hoping for. Right now, it's the 0.3.
Yeah, okay. Now, that's not something that you would sell insurance against, right? I would assume not, yes? Or?
Correct. The government does not consider that to be an insurable cause of loss.
Ah, okay.
But the weather insurance that I mentioned does not care if the crop goes hot. It just strictly is weather insurance during certain times of the growing season, which the video explains that a little bit more if you watch the whole video.
Okay.
Yeah, Scott, you've done a really great job in your video of explaining all that. And so we'll put in the chat how you can get a hold of Scott. And we appreciate your being a member and being at the Expo. And this is a very valuable policy for a lot of people. I do crop adjusting for another company, and I've had 2 policies this year, and both of those policies, just because the way the year was this year, did pay out for those growers. So something you might definitely need to look at. A lot of money out there in risk, and Scott can walk you through all that.
Yep.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks for having me.
All right, well, I'm real excited to introduce Jordan. Jordan is a Cal Poly Pomona engineering alumni. A 5-year break of professional baseball took Jordan across the United States and abroad. While living in Kentucky, he saw cannabis being industrialized in ways that could spark new economies, and made note to connect with partners in the industry who could help build a supply chain for the future. Since launching GreenTek in 2019, Jordan runs day-to-day operations where his team takes on challenges of applying evolving chemical science to produce more sustainable materials, utensils. So Jordan, and I deleted your last name, Hinshaw, is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, I deleted it off your intro by mistake, and it's like, but Jordan, it's really exciting. You're singing to the choir here. We're all on board. We want to know where you're at and what's going on with your product. This is really exciting. So, tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. Obviously this is on short notice, and I'm glad to be able to join in with you guys this morning. Well, at least morning here on the West Coast. So, yeah, as you mentioned in the bio, essentially I was living there in Kentucky, 2017, I believe, and reached out and connected with some of the companies there that were doing some hemp processing. Obviously everybody knows the story of Sunstrands and their overambitious push to try to industrialize that region. But it really fell upon me that with their effort, while their execution didn't hit the mark of what they were looking for, their efforts to, provide a new supply chain option really fell short in terms of the market penetration itself. So, you've got such a young industry that's, farmers are willing to produce, whatever the market is looking for. The question really being, what can the market buy? Like, what is the market going to buy? And so, with my background, having kind of split my youth, if you will, between engineering and travel, I saw that plastics were something that plastics and a lot of disposables, really just single-use items in general, were something that, for one, we were importing a lot of. We've got a deficit on that side, and that we're also finding consumers to be very displeased with. So there's some space there to try to meet that market halfway and say, well, we've got a host of biopolymer developers out there. My partner is a chemical engineer that's able to do some extruding of composites and different materials from plant-based substances. How about we try to make some products that we can sell to the market and kind of get the interest and education up on what this natural, domestic resource could be used for. So in 2020, obviously, though it was a roller coaster year for everybody, we still went ahead and launched Hemptensils, which was an injection grade or injection molded hemp and plant starch based mixture into disposable utensils. And so from there, we started to gather some restaurants. We're here on the West Coast, obviously, where eco-friendly is a popular term, or I should say a welcome term. And we've been moving that into some other applications with extruded hemp fibers that can support the walls and of some very single-use disposable, and in some cases more reusable products. So you mentioned preaching to the choir. I'm glad I was able to come on today, because as it is, we're always looking for processors, companies that are turning hemp fibers into the 250 micron level or less processed material that we can use for different applications. And with such a emerging industry, sometimes those networks or those suppliers are not as transparent or known to everyone. So I really appreciate iHemp and associations like yourself that are looking to provide that roadmap and environment for industry growth.
Yeah, no, and we need those specific specs, to work from. So if you could, let's have another conversation, because things are happening. It's never happening as fast as you want it. Everything
Right.
in this industry is a little challenging, but
Yeah.
Things are happening. And so you have an engineering background.
Yeah. So, honestly, when I was, 14, 15 years old, I was 5'5". I was chubby, a nerdy kid in all the smart classes that didn't look like he'd ever play sports. Or I think I got cut for my 8th grade year of flag football. And so,
and you recovered from that, right? So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I was mentioning to Dave earlier that, my dad, played in the major leagues, and, he was estranged as a kid, but as I got to know him, he really impressed upon me the idea that, in general, baseball is most like life, because, you need to be able to fail and then bounce back, and recover. And that type of, attitude really sank in with me. And so, as I was a Long Beach Poly, alumni and part of their PACE program, which had, the sons of rocket scientists and MIT kids headed to Berkeley and all these great programs. And so for me, engineering was really what I was interested in. I just saw myself as a very, logical, solution-oriented person. So it wasn't until I actually got closer to graduating that I shot up, and the genes that were at home, as a result of my dad's background started kicking in, and all of a sudden there was interest there for professional sports. So from scouts and colleges and such. So it kind of took me on a route where I'm thankful. I'm very thankful. I'm in my 30s now, and I don't look like it, but I it's because I had such a healthy and good 20s of opening my perspectives, travel, working out, eating well, and I just, as I started to near the later end of my 20s, I really wanted to. I understood that your body can only take you so far, and so I really wanted to get back into entrepreneurialism, which is no different than professional sports. I mean, you are your own business. And then, the engineering side, applying that to something that my generation is interested in, but doesn't know much about, and that's hemp. Obviously, one of the most recurring themes is that hemp is not really new. Obviously, it was the backbone of our country at some point, at multiple points. But because of industry pressures, whether it was through cotton or marijuana or whatever the purposes were, it's a whole new opportunity again.
Yeah. Can you show us some of your products? Do you have products you can do a little show and tell?
Absolutely. So I've got a few over here. I did bring our brochure so you guys can see that, but I'll also email that to you, Dave. But let me grab a couple of items real quick for you guys.
Yeah, you bet.
Dave, I got that brochure in my email I can bring up.
Oh, okay.
Let me get to it.
I should have it here. I'm just.
All right, let me work on this here.
Yeah, sorry about the delay there.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, basically, the first thing that we did, and I was actually how this got started in 2017, 2018. I was still traveling a lot, but I had been, finishing up my degree. I was actually studying in industrial engineering at Cal State East Bay. So I ended up getting that degree as well in 2018. And I got asked to join a group that was developing some packaging ideas. They were in the cannabis industry, kind of similar to what Sana was doing, but they wanted to do it a little bit more plant-based and based in California. And so what I did was, with my skills in, CAD and some of the design prototyping and work, I created some packaging for them that they were interested in. They ended up folding, but I was able to generate enough investor interest to kind of gather some resources and start GreenTek in 2019 with a team that basically was really interested in developing. Well, let's see if you guys can see this. A number of different containers. I'll hold it up for a second and then I'll just hold them up individually. But a number of containers, that could be used for storing flour or different like lotions and CBDs. Obviously some pre-roll containers that were of interest to the market. And that was the first thing that GreenTek started with, was really interested in propagating that. But what we found in 2019, especially nearing the end of the year, was that a lot of the licensed producers, a lot of the biggest brands were really in the red. I mean, this isn't obviously news to anybody. And so the idea of the ramp up period that, hey, early on, high cost molds that have low cavities, testing it out, really bridge tooling everything, was going to cause a higher price point than what they were paying for plastic. From China at 3 or 4 cents was all of a sudden 12 to 15 cents. Just wasn't feasible for them. So we started pivoting that into more of, especially when we saw COVID really causing, I believe US Foods went from purchasing about 40,000 combo kits, like the takeout utensils and such, per month to about 200,000, with everybody concerned about cleanliness, sanitation, all those aspects. And so we actually went ahead and built some molds that could build out different utensils like forks and spoons and knives and things of that nature. And just really wanted to get an idea of how how we could offer something that, if the market's paying 4 cents for an option, 4 or 5 cents for an option, that we could meet that at 5 or 6 cents early on, offer them something different, unique, especially for the hemp bugs that love, having hemp around and in their daily routines. And then as we expand, be able to offer more competitive pricing with the global or at least national market. It just takes those iterations, it takes those steps, it takes development, it takes market understanding and research. And so, I was really happy with the at least the initial rollout, and some of the ideas that we had coming forward just require us to continue to connect, to be as efficient as possible with those supply chains and let people know what's going on.
I cover the marijuana world here in Michigan and beyond, and I hear, of course, I talked to a lot of people. There is some interest here in Michigan in doing some kind of biodegradable packaging, because when you buy a cart or a pre-roll, like you say, it's plastic or it's cardboard or something that doesn't really break down very easily in landfills or wherever you end up disposing of it. Is that something that you could create out of hemp? I know it's going to be a little more expensive than it would be if you buy the plastic or the cardboard or whatever. But I know some people right now I could put you in touch with that are looking for that very thing, if that's something you guys do.
Yeah, so of the 3 core partners, myself, obviously, I'm on the operations side. I do work with, I have such and such, since it's such a small team, I have a really integral part of product development, but my other partner, who's a master's in product development and mechanical engineering, he takes on the projects as we get them. And what we really found, through financial analysis, is just we're looking for partners that are, at that 50,000 unit commitment level to really make it worth the 50 to 100,000 to make it worth that enterprise. Because for them, no one is going to want to pay an unreasonable amount to get that done. But is it possible? Yeah, absolutely. Some of the materials that we've seen can break down in as little as 12 months in a landfill. Obviously, 6 months if you put it through a heated compressor or composter. And so, yeah, that'd be wonderful. We love that conversation. Right now, we've been getting a lot of requests for 4-ounce containers to be made with child-lock or child-proof locks. And the number one, since a lot of hemp plastics, if you will, have more of a toughness or lack of elasticity, we're seeing a lot of push down and twist opportunities that could supplant that demand that you're mentioning.
Yeah,
and then you also have straws too that you can make out of them, right? Too, right? Yeah.
Right. So right now we've done some early prototyping of some hemp straws that we want to be able to propagate. Across the nation. Honestly, Hemptensils is a great idea. As far as awareness and catchiness. You can't more condensed in a condensed way explain what it is than to say it's a hemp tencel. But hemp straws are something that not only will people get behind at a competitive price point to paper straws because of just the performance that woes that something that dissolves in your mouth as you're drinking, but also the politicians who have been really banning, restricting straw usage and pushing for these changes that they don't have a solution for. And so right now we're in the process of trying to ramp up production of that over the next few month or so, 2 months, and see what we can do.
You guys, are you self-financed or do you have some private equity money involved?
We were bootstrapped initially. I mean, I used a lot of my own capital to get the initial launch going, along with friends and family. And right now, we're actually part of the Los Angeles GreenTek Incubator. Their innovators program reached out to us last year, and then kind of, started advising us on the steps and how to build this out. And now we're actually in the running for their next cohort of their accelerator program for this year, and just really utilizing the resources there to expand.
Huh. So do you need any special equipment to be able to manufacture the hemp utensils and the straws? And is it conventional equipment?
No, it is industrial size. So we've got an extruder right now that we use a single screw for in an injection mold it's more expensive than we would have afforded to just buy on our own. So we've got a manufacturing partner here locally, which is everything, because I mean, if we can't actually be there to work with it and test it out, prove it out, we're not going to make any progress. And now we're actually looking at bringing on another machine as well. So, really, with my background, I'm a lean manufacturing guy. I want to do things as efficiently as possible. But for scale, you've got to have some heavyweight machinery.
So
We haven't quite got McDonald's to go in on the straw idea yet, right?
Yeah, there you go. So you're essentially white labeling your production right now, but eventually I assume you want to do that all in-house when you can, right? Something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a JV, if you will, with our manufacturers. So they're allowing us to, while we own some our machinery, our tooling, and that nature, we're partnering with them for the facilities and some of the overhead, to cut down on our overhead, because we're not producing around the clock right now. I mean, we're doing batch work primarily. But obviously, integration and being able to, go from seed to shelf is the plan, the vision.
Can I jump in for a couple quick questions here? I've got the brochure up, Jordan, and so is this a package of all three: the spoon, the fork, and the knife?
That's an example of them. So yes, where it says combo kits, that's what that represents. It would come, and you could choose. We've got a horizontal flow wrapper that we're running with a corn-based like bag or film, or potato-based, excuse me. And so that whole kit is designed to be compostable, and those are available for restaurants to buy. We've got some distributors here on the West Coast, up in Canada, and on the East Coast as well, that are right now placing orders for pallets of those.
So $97 for a case of 960 in a case. That doesn't seem too crazy.
Yeah, not terrible. That's our MSRP pricing. I mean, distributors obviously are coming in, far less than that, but they're purchasing, like I mentioned, pallets at a time for price points to be reduced from there. But no, yeah, you look at the market. I've done a fair amount of research. Webstaurant.com and all these giant distributors. For the most part, yes, petroleum plastic, you're not going to be at 10 cents. You're going to be at, like I said, 3 or 4 cents, maybe even 2 cents a unit. But all the eco-friendly options out there, I mean, if you really pay attention to what they're saying, the ones that are greenwashed might be 5 or 6 cents a unit, but they won't even really have, they'll either be petroleum mixed with plant-based, or they're not compostable, or they're not certified, or not, this and that, or they really are legit, really good for the earth, and they're like 15, 20 cents a unit, and it's not something that is becoming a commodity where, if you're not, if it's something that, 40 million utensils are used a year in America, if you're only taking out, a few thousand, what's the real impact there? You got to find a way to compete with the commodity level.
What's your
Go ahead, Dave.
The raw material that you're getting, where are you sourcing that from then? Are you getting it from the United States? Are you able to find enough product here from the United States?
Yeah, that was the painstaking part. So I drove across the United States a few times, with stops in Kentucky, Kansas, Montana is doing a lot right now to try to ramp up their production. And so for us, logistics honestly is a bit of an issue because it does drive up the price. But for the most part, there's been a wealth of material out there. The sole caveat is regional processing. Having someone within 50 to 100 miles that is capable and willing to produce the final the intermediate good.
We have a question there.
Yeah, curious about the percentage of hemp in the plastic.
Sure. So it'll vary, and we actually, since we're a custom, manufacturer batchware, we can change it depending on the request of the client. But typically, you want to stay in the range of 20 to 30% hemp mixed with the fermented starch and the stover. So it can be as much as 60 or 70% when it's all told. But in reality, you've got to have some combiner at this point. We've been using some different plant-based enzymes and to different success. And right now what we've been noticing is that we're starting to get beyond the brittleness that was going on at around 20%. When you have too little or right around that level, you start to notice that the products break a little bit more. We're getting a lot of questions here. I'm seeing them here on the side.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So Doug's got multiple questions. Do you batch mix your material first?
Correct. Yes, and so that's part of the extrusion. We actually will often use a twin screw extruder to mix the different materials into a pelletized form that we can injection mold.
Do you use injection molding or compression molds to make your products?
Both. So, well, I should say injection molding for the Hemptensils. In terms of compression, actually, we're moving towards thermoforming for some of our bowls and containers that we want to make. Those don't have any or don't have the plastic look or feel to them. They're more like a fiber. I'm sorry, if you ever seen a Chipotle bowl, more along those lines. But that process for us to really scale it up, we're going to need to raise a few million in capital. So we've been just in the testing phases of that.
Do you only use hemp stalks, or can you use marijuana stalks where THC has been removed?
For the purpose of not leaping out of our circle of competence, we haven't really gone into the marijuana stalks. I know that there's a wealth of those available, and I think that we can use those, especially for the thermoformed fiber applications, because there's we can use all of what's left of the plant for that aspect. But specifically when it comes to injection and extrusion, you're just dealing with levels of science that little tweaks in the material out of spec, whether it be moisture, content, that can really affect the performance. And then you have to concern yourself with the legal folly of trying to ship materials across state lines that hopefully have no THC in them, but let alone they get stopped and in the middle of production, you're trying to deal with that. It's just not something we want to have to handle.
I think you answered this, but we'll go again. What is the cost of production of your product versus traditional plastic?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, scale of the molds that we use plays a big role. For us, the material costs are higher. You can find petroleum by the pound, depending on what it is, polypropylene, polyethylene, for $1 to $1.50, depending on what it is and additives. It could be a little bit more expensive or a little bit cheaper. But to make a hemp composite material, all things in, I've seen the market as high as $350, but I've also, we are, doing a lot of this stuff much more efficiently, so it can be closer to two something. What that impacts the price is, in terms of, in reality, 20 to 30% of the price is the material. So it's not really a doubling of price. What you're finding is if you build a mold with 40 cavities that can run, at a cycle time of 5 to 10 seconds. You can offer something to the market that's a couple of pennies extra. But again, you're not going to build that type of mold unless you have offtake agreements in place.
How much fiber below 250 micro do you need?
Get me a sample of a few hundred pounds, and we can turn that into a ton in about 3 weeks, and then from there we'll talk. You're serious.
All right.
Okay.
Exciting.
Lee, we'll get if you don't have the do we put Jordan's contact information up anywhere?
No, I can post that right in the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why don't you put that up there, so.
We have a number of, plastics is pretty big here in the States, so we have a number of people that are working on this, not the utensil part, but grinding it, making it into the micros you need and everything. So you may find a nice source for your product here in the States, so.
Let me ask you, Jordan, now, would you have any interest in, I know you're brand new, you're out in California, but most of the hemp is growing out here in this part of the world. Do you have any interest in moving an operation or setting up an operation of some kind in the Midwest or wherever on this side of the world?
Definitely. We've been in chats with a few co-ops, groups that are out there in Michigan. I think the 40-acre co-op is about, because we knew that we needed about 350 acres of production to really be able to reach the levels with the thermoformed fibers that would be, regionally at least competitive. That area, obviously in Michigan, you guys are really, on the avant-garde, and you're manufacturing. There's the one downside about California is that there's really not much manufacturing out here. This is Hollywood, and everybody is concerned with what's on camera. My heart is more so in the Midwest in terms of where there's movers and shakers in terms of that. So yeah, we've been open to it. We've discussed it before. For right now, operationally, we've got a good setup here, but I think looking in the future, that's pretty realistic.
Well, we're whenever you're ready to start talking here, we're ready to find some people to make that happen for you. So we can make that happen, Captain. We can do that.
I hear you. Love to hear it.
So we're getting close to the end here, but so where do you see things going here in the future? I mean, what's your put the rose-colored glasses on? What do you see happening?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even have to be much optimistic to see the progression, the growth. I mean, it's pretty conservative to say that it would be a missed opportunity for the United States not to industrialize and apply this new legalized hemp to its economy and find ways to make that more profitable. I think personally, I'm really invested in the thermoformed and fiber production on that side, really turning the excess material that's often not redded, but rotting in fields into an additional revenue stream for farmers, as well as a product for the markets. I was looking at chatting with some guys who produce in India and China, and in the fiber market, and they're really saying that, hey, you're paying $700 a ton for this material around the world, but you've got hemp materials. I've got farmers with 1,500 tons of material laying in their fields that they'd be willing to get rid of for $200 on a ton. And so, I mean, you've got competitiveness that, because and for other corporate and political reasons, decided to do this tag with the other side of the world in terms of production, we kind of delayed and offset the opportunity to build that infrastructure here. So rose-colored glasses, I would say that in the next 10 years, you'll start to see a cleaner, more domesticated supply chain for these products and things that people are using.
What we're seeing in our studies and what we're getting in feedback from people is the packaging issue that I brought up at the beginning is, particularly in the cannabis world, a lot of those folks are earth friendly, shall we say. It doesn't really matter what age they are. I'm an old hippie, but a lot of the millennials are really into it and all that jazz. And they're not real comfortable with the fact that when they buy their products that they're wrapped in plastic and and other stuff that they got to throw in the landfill that may last forever in the landfill. So I really think there's a really interesting opportunity here for packaging where you could do really well. So.
Agreed. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that that's kind of at the heart of it. There's reflections of that in the different sides of the industry, but in general, you're talking about what is ideally a lot of bankers and a lot of people from industries that weren't in cannabis coming in and saying, hey, we have this opportunity. We don't really care about the ethos of it. Let's just find a way to make money. And so they're applying that in a way that is kind of getting some pushback. I agree with you.
Okay.
Well, Jordan, want to thank you today for taking the time and bringing us up to speed on where this whole world's going on that. I think it was a unique product when I read the article about you, and I'm glad that we could get you on and you could share that information. And we're definitely going to have some conversations with you in the future. I can see that happening. So we'll look forward to having you back on again in the future.
Much obliged, guys.
You're making some 4-ounce containers. Are they available now?
Oh, that's a beauty. Yeah. So they are not available right now. We did a run back in June of 2020, and had to retool. So if we were to build another one right now, like I said, as of yesterday, we've got orders for about 25,000 units, but we're just not pulling the trigger until we start to hit the level, the consistent residual level that we want. So,
Okay.
I have seen that before. If I'm correct, I think that's from
Hemp plastic.
the hemp plastic company.
Yep.
Or no? Yep. Yeah. Kevin and those guys. And again, those are great. I mean, obviously the child proofing process, that's 5-10 grand there, and you got to get the bio certifications, the testing there. So there's just some expenses that come along with doing that we wouldn't want to prematurely launch that type of thing. We want to make sure we have somebody who's with us on the vision of what this is about, and willing to work with us, amicably.
Well,
What about
I'm
those,
excited, man.
I'm sorry, Dave, what about those pre-rolled tubes? Is that still kind of in the sample format, or are you actually selling those, or what?
No, those are in the sample format as well. We have a distribution agreement with a partner out of Canada that's been walking that up to fruition, and we've sent them out, a few hundred samples, and they're supposed to be propagating that. If we can, I guess this next month, with us so focused on hemp straws, if we're able to, and I'm glad that I came on today. Apparently I was, this is auspicious, to say the least. Then we can pull the trigger on that in about 4 weeks and get that producing. The pre-rolls, the molds already designed and everything. We just have to build it out and start going.
I'll talk to you separately about pricing and things like that. So.
Absolutely. Please email me. Obviously, Dave has my email. That's my most direct. The number is the company's cell phone. So, it's better to call me than to text me on that number. But for those of you that are on this panel, obviously, you guys, I'll share with you a direct contact.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, this is exciting. I see everything here. I shared those links to the websites. We'll put it in the recording. Have some links up. Yeah. Anything we can do to help you out, let us know.
Much obliged, guys. Should I hang on here? Are you guys going to tap
Yeah,
out?
hang on.
You never told us what position you played in baseball. What was your position?
So, I actually grew up as a catcher. Like I mentioned, I was a shorter guy, and so I was always, catcher's the quarterback of the field. He sees everything, and he's always in every play. So that was most interesting to me. But when I sprung up, they moved me they said you could run. So they moved me to the outfield. And I ended up becoming a center fielder. And I played for Aaron Miles. He was my favorite manager in the minor leagues. And, he gave me the best compliment that I had, which was of all the years he played, he was a World Series champion. I was in the top 4 outfielders that he played or coached with. So, I enjoyed it, angles, routes, and making good decisions out there, taking away hits. But there's still no better feeling in the world than hitting a home run. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you're hitting a home run with your product here.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that's that. We didn't come to bunt, so that's
Love it.
Well, I think we're going to have bonus content today, folks, because we've got quite a bit more to cover. So for a couple things I want to make sure I mention, there's a couple of actual going to be face-to-face expos happening real soon. The Show Me state, Missouri, they have the Show Me Hemp Conference. That's going to be March 1st and 2nd down in Missouri. And we'll put some information up. But if you type in Show Me Hemp, it'll come up and you'll be able to get all the information on that. One of the fun things that they have going on is a raffle with a professional fishing trip with John Galat, if I'm saying that right.
Oh, I already won that.
You won that already? Yeah. Oh, okay. So no sense in there. Okay. Anyway, and they have a very limited number of tickets that they're selling on this, by the way, and they're very inexpensive. Plus 2 tackle boxes filled with a bunch of different baits to that. So a fun thing there, and you might want to help them out. Again, the tickets are very inexpensive for that situation, so and only a limited number. Also in Iowa next week, they got the Ag Expo. This is going to be in Des Moines, I believe, but they made it real inexpensive for people to attend. It's $10, and if you go on the site, they've got a $5 off, so it's only $5. Students are free. I know that iHemp Michigan is going to be represented out there. We're going to have some postcards and stuff going on. So again, these are face-to-face meetings that are going on. So if you're traveling and if you have that desire, you want to get face-to-face with people and network, these are 2 things that are coming up, and we want to make sure everybody's aware of those for sure. So let's see, Dave, let's talk about the hempies a little bit. Let's do that.
Yeah, well, I've got the winners queued up here.
Okay.
You want to run through them?
Yep. You got it, Dave. Otherwise, I got to bring up my screen.
I do it. All right, so
okay, you do it. You do it.
I can't talk, but I can do it. So in the food category, our gold winner, first place, was Great Lakes Hemp Supplements, our own buddy Michael Toohey, for his cherry drops. In second place, we had the oh, you know what? I have that backwards. I apologize. This is actually silver, and this is gold. I'll fix that.
They're both good. It doesn't matter which one they are. They're both good. Yeah.
Cherry drops are gold. And then who's this guy?
Oh goodness!
Are you familiar?
I got lucky. You like me. You really, really like me.
The Hemperor's oil. So
that's the hemp seed oil. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And as a testimonial, I cook my eggs with that. So
good for you.
Good stuff. In textiles, we have the Sutton Weed Farm World Hemp, their safety match. This is certified by the CDC, was it?
Yep,
right?
CDC.
It's been
CDC approved.
Thoroughly tested. Really good mask. Mm-hmm. And then our own Mary McGraw came up with the Hempy bag.
Mama McGraw.
Mm-hmm. It has a quarter slot in it for those of you that go to Aldi's. So if you go to Aldi's, it's got a little slot, you can keep your quarter in and put your quarter back in. So she thought of everything on that one.
You bet. And then innovations. This is the beast. The decorticator Blaine and Bill Beard have been working on to decorticate the CBD stalks.
Oh,
so
there's a big one.
To see that product develop.
Why we call it the beast, Mike?
Yeah.
It's portable though. We take it to the farm.
So now, Mike, this is why you should, have Turtle Pond Botanicals on, to talk about CBD, because of the recipe, the chocolate nutty peanut butter CBD balls. I'll send you down some, Mike. They're really, really yummy, and they're nutritious and full of protein.
And that's your company, right?
Yes, sir. Yep.
I knew there was something in there I was missing that you were neglecting to point out. So,
well, Dave's not one to tout himself very much.
Yes, and we had some fun when that was announced. I remember on the award show, it was a few comments came out of that, but we won't go into those comments. So,
no, not on the family show.
Oh, this is a family show.
This is a family show. So
there was drinking involved at the awards ceremony. So I mean,
just a little. Just a little.
Yeah, and we're all brain dead by that point. I'm still recovering.
Yeah.
The CBD 101 from HOH Hypnotize, Lori she put together a lot of really great content. That's available. We're going to be pushing that out. In the personal care category, we have Benefita, their muscle roll-on, and then they also won for their soothing lotion. And then Lori from HOH Hypnotize won for their immune support gels, soft gels. And finally, the photo contest. I've got these out of order. Let's go.
That was people's choice. That was,
Frosty Morning.
Very pretty. Look at
Frosty
that
Morning.
thing, huh?
This is the people's choice, the ladies. And then the silver in the photo contest is the grain babies. And then we have one more Key to Life was the bronze. So that is the Hempy Awards for 2020. So we're looking forward to having more opportunity to promote this next year.
Blaine, do you have one of those bowls on your desk, or Dave?
No, I do. And there's one other special award that we gave away this year. Here's what the giveaway was, their prize this year. That's actually a hemp made bowl for Kentucky Hemp Company, Kentucky Wood Company. Greg Wilson, we had him on a show a little while ago. So this is actually his wood, and Squire Babcock, real close to them down there. He does lathe work, and so he turned the bowls for us. And then they've got different bands on them: gold for first, silver for second, and bronze for third. So not only a great gift, but also a useful gift, because you could put stuff in it. So we wanted to make it something that was hemp related for the award, and actually this is all hemp made. So it's very, very cool.
Now, is there truth that Becky eats her cereal out of that bowl, or
no,
not?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure. So,
but maybe she could. Yeah, she could. One other special award that we gave away was the service to industry, and that was to U.S. Hemp Roundtable for the work that they've done and continue to do on behalf of all of us growers. So we really appreciate their hard work that they do. So. All that, if you want to, that information again is the whole award ceremony is on the website, the Midwest Hemp Expo. Scott Clow was our MC, did a great job. I haven't laughed that hard for so long in a long time. So it was really, really a fun night for sure.
Yeah, we must mention our sponsors: Veritas Labs, Midwest Hemp Council, Hemp Today, Neogen, Adams Independent Testing, Miller Farm, Sutton Weed Farm, HOM Hypnotize, Whitlock Land Tech, and the Hemp Mine. Thank you for we have great sponsors. Couldn't ask for better sponsors.
They help all make the hemp. They made all that help. All their help made that possible for us to be able to get all that information out there. So yeah, all right. Are we time? Is it time?
that time.
Anything else for the good of the cause? Anybody got? No? Okay, here we go. So Jordan, this is the special time. This is what everybody comes in for us for this part of it. So
that's why we save it to last, so that they watch the whole show, because then they get to,
if we did it at first, nobody would want to.
Well, right,
There you go.
highlight of the show you keep at the end, so.
Today we have hemp hip squares is what we got today. Unfortunately, I didn't step up and get my pictures taken and everything, but so it's pretty simple. You know how I am. I like simple recipes. This makes about 16 squares. You need a cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of raw pumpkin seeds, a half a cup coarsely chopped pecans, 2 cups brown rice syrup, a half a cup of shelled hemp seed. I usually go a little heavier, but that's just me. 1 tablespoon sesame seed tinny, a pinch of sea salt, and a scant pinch of ground cinnamon. Pretty simple. You preheat the oven and you mix all the oats and the pumpkin seed together and the pecans, and you bake them for about 20 minutes. They say you want to turn them every once in a while so they don't get too brown. And then you transfer all that to the rice syrup, the hemp seed, the tinny, the salt, and the cinnamon in a saucepan, and cook over that for medium heat for about 5 to 7 minutes, so you get the texture to it. And you spoon your oats and your pumpkin seeds and the nuts into a a cooking pan that you've oiled up a little bit, put a little oil on, and you pour that on top of there and you let it cool for about 5 minutes and you cut with a moist knife into 2-inch squares. So that is the hemp squares. And I got that from my favorite cookbook, which is Hemp Nut Cookbook. So that's where we're getting some of these recipes from. So with that, gentlemen, unless there's anything else, I'm all set.
All right.
What's the show next week, Blaine? Who do you got on tap?
Oh yeah, the show next week is going to be, if I remember it right, let me look at my list here. Icon Processors is going to be on next week. They're the winner. They won 2 first and second place in the personal care products. They're benefit products. Yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
All right, let me check. I forgot to check the chat. Is there anything else we're missing?
We got Scott's contact. We did get George in there too.
Yeah, Lee Shunk's got something going on. He's making powder for the plastic industry. Very cool.
Oh, very cool.
All right.
It's
It's so exciting. Every week there's more stuff happening and breaking loose. So keep the faith. Let us know if we can be of any help. We're going to keep pushing the envelope forward.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.
Right.
See you next week.
Peace and love. Thanks, Jordan.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
All right. See you.